Hi, this is Shadi. Today's subject is very serious, and I'm asking for a lot of people who are maybe in medical fields or paramedics, etc., if they can provide additional information, that would be greatly appreciated. But before that, please, if you found this video informative or at least entertaining, please like it. It's the easiest way to support me. So we have to understand that judo should be done with a very good attitude and very good spirit. It is not just a sport. This handling of someone's life in your hands, and as you see here in this Kappo seminar or resuscitation seminar, this is what we will discuss. And before we do that, please don't forget to check out my book, The Origins and History of Judo, a translation of a manuscript from 1903. So recently, Black Belt Rehab posted the thread, and I found it very informative. So a lot of us, and I was under this impression that when someone goes unconscious, it's because there's no more blood going to their brain, and so you have to lift the legs so a lot of blood can rush back to their brain, and so they can wake up again. And this may seem like it makes a lot of sense. However, that's not actually what happens. What happens is that a lot of blood, there is blood already in the brain, but when it gets compressed, what happens is that it creates a pool of blood, like sedentary blood, and a lot of it gets, the density of CO2 becomes higher and higher as it stays there, and so you go unconscious. And so the right way to do it is to actually put someone in this particular recovery position, unless they fell on their back and there's a spinal injury. However, lifting someone's legs is when someone blood pressure goes down, not when they go unconscious. So this video is on Gordon Okamura's channel. I'll link it below if you want to watch it fully. And I just took some of the best parts and I want to discuss them with you. So here he's explaining that Hadakajime, the basic form, actually targets the trachea, while Okuri Erijime pressures the jugular veins and the trachea in some ways, so it can be very uncomfortable and they will feel it. However, some strangles, they do not feel that there's a pressure on the trachea, and so many people are not aware that it can happen to them. So like for example in Jujijime, some people, they think they can still fight this, and so they go unconscious. And I'm sure it has happened to many of you. It has happened to me a few years back. And so here he explains that after you release, the oxygen can go back to the brain, and you have to be very mindful. As soon as you feel it, you let go. As soon as they tap, you let go. When you do Juji Gatame, do not rip the arm. All these, you should be training in good spirit. If the setup is good, you don't need to force it. So here he explains this. This is very important. You should be aware of it. Even advanced people, someone goes limp and they don't even feel it. These are very important things to touch upon. And this is important. He explains that there is no scientific studies behind these techniques, but over the years, with trial and error, they would find that they work. And you have three types of Kappo: Sokatsu, Erikatsu, and Sasoikatsu. So again, if someone is in the medical field and they have additional information on these techniques, please feel free to post any links or studies below. They will be greatly appreciated. So here he explains that it is not backed by scientific studies, but it has worked through trial and error and experiment. He said around 50 years ago, they would actually get someone to test it on, which is, crazy and really risky. But now, of course, you cannot do that anymore, but they feel that these techniques actually work, and they do somewhat align with that post that it is made. A lot of medical doctors have commented, and they said that, yep, that's the best way, of course, to not lift the legs. So the first one here, Sokatsu, you put your palms on the soft tissue, not on the ribs. Do not crush the ribs, and just push that, like a initial thrust, not too violent, of course, and that will cause them to exhale and wake up. So there's many ways where you can go unconscious or you lose your breath. So it can be a strike to the groin, you can be struck on the solar plexus. There's many ways, It's not just from strangulation. So there's also sokatsu on someone's back. Again, you have to be mindful. He says that tap lightly on the third or fourth vertebra. I'm sure many don't know where that exactly is, so I just suggest that just push lightly on the soft tissue, very similar to the one we saw before, but on the back. And here you can see just lightly, thrust, and that will cause them to exhale. Maybe they swallowed water. I believe also in Mifune's book, he talks about when someone drowns, you can do that to them. I'll link it below as well, the Canon of Judo. And Sasoi Katsu is you lay them back and then you pull their shoulders backward and then slide your arms down, which will also cause some type of an exhale and really open their chest up. But for strangulations, I strongly suggest the first two there because they are laying down in a recovery position. Here, I'm not sure, this one maybe it's for more like groin strikes and stuff. Now here you can tap on the back as well. Erikatsu, the same, but you pull and push down with the collar and press on the chest as well, causes them to exhale and help. But me personally, I like the first two. And here, like I said, someone gets kicked in the groin. Kogan Katsu is applied. A lot of people, especially beginners, they like to do Uchimata with their heel, and you can imagine what can happen. And so tapping the lower back like this, of course not violently, lightly, is very good. It can help because you can lose your breath with a very strong strike to the groin as well. So do it slowly, do it properly. If you have any advanced teachers, 7th, 8th degree, black belt, ask them about these things. Anyone in the medical field, if you have any further information on these about resuscitation techniques that can somewhat align with what we saw here, feel free to share your information. That would be greatly appreciated. And that's mainly it. Please practice with a good mind. Always be mindful of your partner when you strangle or when you do any type of katamewaza. Make sure you are paying attention to them and how they're reacting. It's very important. If the setup is good, there's no way they're escaping, and there's no need to force a strangle or a joint lock. So if you have anything to add, let me know down below. Don't forget to check out the links below as well. This was Shadi, and thank you for listening.